Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to dig in.
Well, today we're diving headfirst into the world of employee reviews.
Always interesting to see what's going on behind the curtain, right?
Exactly. And specifically, we're looking at Dow Jones. We've got two reviews here, one from someone in their New York office and another from their Barcelona location.
Two different continents, two different perspectives. Should be interesting to see what we find.
Right. So our mission today isn't just to summarize what these reviews say, it's to really dissect what they tell us about the company culture at Dow Jones. What's it actually like to work there? What do job seekers need to know? You know, the kind of stuff you don't get from a company website.
The real deal, unfiltered, love it. Exactly. So let's kick things off with something positive. The Barcelona review mentions some good stuff, a great international team, good training opportunities. They even mentioned a good work-life balance and a nice office location.
Yeah, those are all great perks for sure. But I gotta be honest, those are kind of standard these days, especially for international companies. If those are the highlights,
Mhm.
what does that say about the rest of the experience?
It definitely makes you wonder, doesn't it? And speaking of things that make you wonder, both reviews mention salary, or should I say, the lack thereof.
Ah, the elephant in the room. Always got to talk about the money.
Right. The New York review straight up says employees are underpaid compared to the industry. And Barcelona was even more blunt. They basically said it's tough to make ends meet.
Yeah, and that's a huge red flag. It speaks to a much larger problem, particularly in media, where wages have basically stagnated while the cost of living just keeps skyrocketing.
It's like they're stuck in a time warp or something.
Kind of.
Oh.
And it creates this real imbalance of power between employers and employees. And honestly, this is something everyone should pay attention to, even if you're not in media, because this trend is happening across a lot of different industries.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So maybe this is me reading too much into it, but it's almost like they're stuck in their old ways. Like the New York review called Dow Jones straight up outdated.
Oh, really?
In what way? Well, they mentioned the office, the tech they use. They even said the management structure felt outdated. And then the Barcelona review uses the phrase out of touch to describe management. Feels kind of similar, don't you think?
It's almost eerie how much those two things overlap. And honestly, it's not that surprising. Traditional media companies, especially ones with a long history like Dow Jones, often struggle to adapt to the times.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the New York Review even mentions a checkbox approach to DEI, which just reinforces this idea that maybe they're not really addressing the deeper issues at play. It's like they're just going through the motions.
That's all for show. Just checking the boxes.
Exactly.
It's interesting because when you get to the advice to management sections in both reviews, you can just feel the cynicism dripping from their words. Like, New York at least offered some concrete suggestions, but Barcelona basically implied that management just doesn't listen anyway. What's even the point of saying anything?
See, that's where reading between the lines is so important. That kind of cynicism, it usually means there's a breakdown in communication, like there's no real feedback loop. So even if good things do exist within Dow Jones, the employees don't feel heard. They don't believe that anything will change.
That's a really good insight. It's like they've just completely lost faith. So, I mean, obviously we only have two reviews here. It's not a huge sample size. But it is interesting how consistent their experiences seem to be.
Definitely. And I think this raises an important question for anyone listening who might be thinking about a job at Dow Jones or really any company.
What's that?
What other information would you want to look for? Would you talk to current employees? Would you maybe dig deeper into other company review sites, Glassdoor, that kind of thing?
Right, because these reviews, they're just a starting point. They're not the be-all and end-all.
Exactly. It's like the tip of the iceberg. They give you a little glimpse, but there's always more beneath the surface.
And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive, giving you the tools to think critically and make informed decisions. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.